Rick, you are a veteran in this industry. I've known you for 20 plus years. You launched Discovery in Latin America, among other brands, with BBC. Then you went back to general market and you were GM at Travel Channel. So you've sat on both sides, right? Creating Spanish language content and then 100% domestic, let's just get the ratings up. What's your point of view? Like, what happens in both boardrooms? I'm curious, right? When you're, I mean, as a Latino, you've been in both. Can you guys really not find the good, talented producers? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, one of the things that happens is that you can look at it very idealistically when ratings don't matter, when your job's not on the line, when the result, you're not responsible for the results, and then you put on very different set of lenses when every day you're seeing that the show that you were so passionate about, the subject that you believed in so much, didn't perform. So there's definitely a conservatism that occurs when you move into that world. And when you're working on the U.S. network side, again, every morning you've got those results that you've got to struggle with. That being said, though, I think that the biggest concern I have, and first off, I want to say that things are a lot better today in Hollywood than they've ever been. I mean, One Day at a Time is fantastic on Netflix. On some of the shows I've seen on Netflix, like Las Chicas del Cable from Spain, is a beautiful production. Some of the things we have on Póngalo from Caracol, I was just, because it's Halloween, we're promoting a series produced a few years ago called La Bruja in Colombia, and it's gorgeous. So the production values, the kind of talent, the exposure we're getting in this market is much, much better than it's ever been. But that being said, when you look at it proportionally, it's certainly, again, it's a lot less than we would like it to be. So to me, the big thing is that we have a responsibility as a community to single out those people in our community who are doing exceptional work, because really I come at it from the Discovery Scripts point of view, where you're doing reality shows about real people and celebrity realtors or celebrity decorators or celebrity chefs or people who are true professionals. And I don't think as a community we do enough for that, and we certainly don't have the mechanism in place to identify those superstars and turn them into brands. That's just not something we don't have the background in that. Also, I don't think we should discount the fact that people, in the Hispanic community, we have Univision and Telemundo that are a huge brain drain of talent. There's huge organizations with thousands of people on their staffs producing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in Spanish. So I don't, it's easy to kind of discount their contribution, but it also, because of the fact that so much talent ends up staying there, it doesn't contribute to the larger population. So anyway, I can go on and on.
So your response sounds kind of hopeful.
I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
I
think we just have to do it. Do more. I think that's the answer. And a couple of years ago, I was trying to develop a network that I was sure was going to get off the ground, and we even got the deal, but our management team decided to walk away from it. But I think we have to build a destination so that all this content could live in one place, so that it could actually serve as a beacon, the way that BET or I think it's Entertainment One or some of the other Bounce. There's so many African American services that try to do that, and yet there isn't an English language Hispanic destination.
No, I'm going to just challenge that a little bit, because we talk a lot about how Latinos are pretty different than other demographics, where we're like, maybe we're just arrogant. We're like, we're mainstream. Like, we don't need our own destination. Yeah. Like, we just want to see ourselves represented. We just want to sit at the same table, right? Like, when people are like, listen, you get your own multicultural department way in the back with 10% of the budget, And I got into a lot of trouble last year exactly at this conference when I said that, and my other peers who are extraordinary marketers, people of color, said, well, are you trying to get us fired from the studios? I'm like, 100% no. I'm just wanting for you to be invited to the same table and not on the kids' table on the side. We are mainstream America. Why couldn't we be just the same and equal and at the same table and sharing the same budgets? I don't know that the solution would be that we need our own destination, because what's the investment to compete with somebody like a Netflix or a Hulu? Like, wouldn't it just be like, just make more good stuff?
But if you're relying on that serendipity that Network A has one show, Network B has another show, whatever, it's all diffuse. You're not building the machinery to get to identify superstar people, to build a culture of creators and producers, and it's a chicken and the egg, right? So somebody's got to be funding it and demanding it, and right now there's just not sufficient demand coming from the existing pipeline.
No, and I think one of the things you said, Beatriz, which I think is very true, is whenever we go out and pitch projects, we're often then put like, oh, by the way, we have this Spanish group, you should talk to them. Or, oh, by the way, we have this team in Mexico, you should talk to them. And it's like, well, I'm pitching an English language project for Americans. And so I think it's partially that. I think when people think of Latino community, they think of Univision and Telemundo and like, oh, you have two channels, you have it all. And I think that's not the case. I mean, most Latinos in the US don't watch Univision and Telemundo. You age out of it. The Univision and Telemundo experience is mostly an immigrant experience.
You don't just age out of it, you're born out of it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Because two-thirds of Latinos in the United States are born here.
No,
that's almost 40 million.
I was born here, I still watched it. Yeah. I mean, I think you're exactly right. Like, you're just not part of it. And I think it's also a part of Hollywood has to recognize just that. Like, we are a part of the mainstream. Like, we're not a separate group. You don't have to send us to a different division.
Right, that's a great quote.